This is Bilbo, your dungeon master, and as you see, all the seats where the characters once where the players sat in their character seats, they are all now gone. Hence, it is Sunday afternoon actually, and last night we played, or yesterday afternoon we actually played, but we streamed live on Twitch. However, we had an audio issue and so it didn't pick up any of our games. So I'm actually going to do a recap of session 24. We're still new with Twitch, and we tested audio before the session, and everything was working fine. Next time, paying a little bit more attention to the live stream. The most important thing of all, of course, is we had fun playing. After a 3-week layoff from the game, and the good thing is we're scheduled now to play every Saturday for the rest of March. So we will get in some great sessions here going forward as well. So where we last left off with our heroes fighting the Marsava clan here in the Great Melt Falls. Going into this session, I knew the heroes would be victorious, and it's just a matter of time for them to finish this fight up. In the end, 3 of the Marsava clan leaders would actually escape through the waterfalls. This the first one that left was a drow spellcaster who had already actually exited the cave the last session. Next was Rinka, a blue dragon-born, also a spellcaster, would exit after breathing his lightning on Rafik, who finally became invisible to the clan. Rinka realized the fight was a lost cause, really, and decided to leave, and flew through the waterfall and escaped, and wasn't going to fight to the death. The last one to leave, I'd each side to help finish up what was going on. The group finished off the Marsava clan, and while doing so, Garther's magical hammer, one of his hammers, not the dwarven thrower he has, but the other hammer where they acquired a couple sessions before this, healed him a little bit after he killed one of the clan warriors and actually spoke to him. However, the group seemed a little bit more concerned with fighting off the clan and taking the bodies with them. So more to come there, I'm sure, with that hammer. We'll see how sessions go here going forward. The group managed to capture 2 members of the Marsava clan, a drow priestess and a half-orc spellcaster. So we'll see what information they get from them at a later time. However, the groups still had something to worry about. That was from behind them, coming through the teleportation portal. These formless creatures, some of them almost clear-like, blue-like creatures, and others black in figure, no true form to them. And these creatures seem to go after spellcasters. Just imagine what rust monsters are to fighters. These are the same towards spellcasters, and really magical items too. The group was using the barbarians to keep these things at bay for some time, but then a larger one came through the portal as some of the group was exiting. With the threat of these creatures going after spellcasters and magic items, the group knew they had to get out of this cave. They couldn't be in here any longer. The barbarians they made a pretty quick work of this large creature that came through the portal, and about half the group went through the portal, and some very powerful magic items for the group. I mean, it could have been devastating. You have Garther with 2 powerful hammers. You have Flamezor, who also has a Sunblade. So those are some very tough items to be lost to these creatures. And that almost happened with Flamezor's Sunblade. That was very close, but luckily the barbarians were able to finish it off. before they had a chance to react to that. So about half the group escaped through the portal, and then the other second half of the group was still dragging bodies through. The barbarians all set up positions, waiting for another one of these creatures to come through. And so that's kind of where we left the last session off, because sure enough, one of these large, formless, clear creatures comes through the teleportation portal. And so that's where we stopped. So we have the 4 barbarians waiting in Mardor, all waiting to attack. Rafik's right there. And Rafik, luckily, has just to detect magic up here. So I'm sure this thing is going to hit Rafik and take that spell down, since that's what these things do. And I'm sure the barbarians will make quick work, but the groups, knows they need to get out of here, and so they will continue to, I'm sure, be hard pressed to get through here in the next, round or 2 rounds, trying to get rid of this creature and then go through. So that's where we'll start next Saturday with barbarians and the remaining heroes to start this fight. As a DM, the session went as planned. I was a little disorganized at the start. It happens, Flamesor, Alex, my grandson, had a basketball game that afternoon, and I didn't know about it until last night, or until Friday night. So it kind of threw off my prep time. Wasn't quite ready with my NPCs. I had them, but I didn't have them anymore. It slowed things down a little bit at the start of the game, but in the end, we had fun and we went through, perfectly. I did some spring cleaning down here in my dungeon, and so everything, cleaned up. All the cameras that we had and everything was down, and so I had to reset all that stuff on up before we started playing, and that was the priority. But everything, I think, really went well for that. Once, like I said, once we got things going, we had a really great session, fun session. The heroes did great, but once again, I was horrible with the dice rolls, with many fumbles and misses. And I have a house rule that when you fumble, you lose the rest of your actions for that turn. I also have a house rule on critical hits that on the damage dice, if one of the die, or any of the dice that you're using, is maxed out on the die roll. So say you roll a d6 and you roll a 6, you get to re-roll that die again to add more damage. And if you roll a 6 again, you can roll again until it keeps going. So I really think that balances out the game with criticals meaning something and fumbles also meaning something. Like, that's it. So if you make your first attack and you fumble, you're done. No bonus actions, nothing else, no movement. You're stuck kind of where you're at. And some of the players role play that out a little bit more to get some extra experience. Others don't. But I was fumbling. It was not the characters that were doing it. I was horrible, and it really through this whole combat. Really, this whole adventure with the Marsava clan, I've been off on dice, and really even the fight before. So I'm due, and I think all the players know that too. That sooner or later the dice are going to turn against them. But it's not my, as a DM, I'm not trying to kill, any of the party members or anything like that. It's just it's just kind of, I'm telling the story, doing the storytelling, running the game, and I'm not trying to kill characters. If it happens, it happens. It's part of the game. I think, that's why we all play, DM or play. There has to be some risk for me when I play. So the only other thing we kind of had up, that kind of slowed us down, was a rule. So when Rafik appeared visible again, and Rinka, the Dragonborn, he was actually invisible as well. He had greater invisibility on, just like Vega and Rafik did this whole battle. And he hit Rafik with the lightning bolt. And our biggest thing was is we were trying to figure out, is there, is there a disadvantage on that type of saving throw because the person casting the spell was invisible? We ended up ruling that no. Now I know in the sense if it was an attack hit, yes, absolutely, then I would have an advantage on that attack with the spell. So say if I was rolling an attack with a spell, say like Guiding Bolt, where I have to actually hit a target, then I know I have advantage. But we ended up ruling in the sense for the favor of the player, and it would just spend another 5 points of damage. However, I think we're right. If I'm wrong, please comment below and point that out, whatever page it's in a player's handbook. I'd appreciate it. But I think I got that one right, and so we moved on and we continued throughout the adventure. The only thing that I had truly kept causing damage to on a consistent basis was Baidmar, the Dragonborn Warlock in the group. He's the only one that I just seemed to be able to hit and do damage to. The rest of the group just they weren't in fear of dying. I don't think they're even with Baidmar. There was no sense that no one was going to die in the group, especially with the roles I had been making. So the adventure was challenging to the group in the end. They used all their resources to be victorious. So that's really good too as a dungeon master. You have, you zapped all their resources. They put in work to be victorious here. They captured 2 prisoners to assist them in finding answers on Marcos. Like I said, none of the heroes were truly at risk of dying. Mainly because and mainly the really reason that there was no risk. They did some good planning before session, and they worked well together as a team, and that I think was really important. They also are really good with dice rolls, and I was very, very bad on dice rolls. Dominus' story, it really never started, ended here with him dying along with Gestal. As a storyteller, I'm very disappointed that a new player comes into the group, and I thought he would be here for a long-term future in the game, and he was really interested in the campaign, really interested in the world, asking a lot of questions, and had a really good background and a story for his character. So I was able to tie that in to the group as well as him to make him vested as well for what they were doing. And it blew up in my face. And he's just with us for a couple months. However, I'm very excited about the other new players that we gained also, and then going forward on the story with the Grey Guardians. I'm looking forward to seeing what how this story plays out a little bit more with Grimnox and some twists and turns here. I'll probably take this group to maybe around 15th level, maybe somewhere between 12 and 15th level. I think that's where I'll be finishing this story, and then moving on to a new campaign, a new story, and where all the players will start out with brand new characters, which will be fun because most of this group, the majority of this group, was 3.5 conversions into the system, and so they were very powerful coming into 5e, and it's also it's tough to have it's almost epic fights every encounter. This group is rather large, but I think I have that down. I think this fight really showed that I had to balance well I did control a lot of NPCs, and a lot of them got muted by Vega, which was good. I mean, she used her resources to stop a lot of spells. She did a lot of counter spells to make sure that the group didn't get harmed, and that was really important. She could have been selfish in ways and kept a spell and done something for herself. But that's how that character is too. Is she's going to protect life, even the enemy's lives at times. So looking forward to next Saturday. I wish we would have been able to get this recorded and everybody could enjoy this great session. And the next session next Saturday, should start, I believe, about 2 p.m. Central Time and go till 6. That's the plan. There might be a basketball game involved. So I have to find that out. And I'm looking forward to them finishing this off, and we'll do some role playing and then get them for what's next to come. So this is your friendly Dion Bilbo signing out for the Grey Guardians, the world of Harthron. Everyone, I hope you have a great Sunday. I'm about to actually go grill dinner here and enjoy the rest of the day with the family and the grandsons. And yeah, 60-degree weather here in Minneapolis, and it's March 6th, I think, 5th. Yeah, 5th, March 5th on a Sunday. Pretty cool weather. So, hope you have a great afternoon. Remember, it's cool to be a geek. Happy gaming. See you next Saturday.